I'm dead. I'm dead.
Who the fuck is that? That's not Jim Carrey.
What if I told you that one of Hollywood's most iconic faces has been accused of being a clone? Yes, you heard that right. From viral whispers to full-blown conspiracy threads, the internet has exploded with theories, debates, and digital detectives claiming something is off. But is it really a clone, or is it something far more human? Welcome to Social Heat, where we turn up the temperature on the stories everyone is talking about. If you love deep dives into viral drama, celebrity controversies, cultural debates, and the truth behind the headlines, you're in the right place. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the Social Heat community. Every subscription helps us grow, investigate bigger stories, and bring you even more powerful content. Now, let's turn up the heat. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I invite you to step into a story that sounds like science fiction, smells like satire, and unfolds in the strange, flickering glow of our modern screens. It begins with a face, a familiar face, a face that once contorted itself into rubber-limbed absurdity in The Mask, that delivered manic brilliance in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, that broke our hearts with quiet restraint in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and that made us question reality itself in The Truman Show. It is the face of Jim Carrey. And yet, in recent months, some have looked at that same face and whispered, "That's not him." They have said he looks different. They have said he sounds different. They have said he moves differently. And in the peculiar language of our age, they have declared he's been cloned.
Oh, it's a wonderful feeling. I really took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's, then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes and I was like a novice, but I felt a lot of love. And I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried, and what I said was true, and I really wanted to recognize my family. I wanted to recognize my dad. I mean, my dad was the type of person that if you met him for 5 minutes, you felt like you knew him for 50 years. I can't talk about him without getting emotional.
Yes, clone. Not metaphorically, not poetically, literally. A replacement, a double, a manufactured version, a government experiment, a Hollywood fabrication. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the drama of the so-called Jim Carrey clone. And tonight we will not merely dismiss it, we will explore it dramatically, honestly, thoughtfully, because beneath every absurd rumor lies something revealing about us. In early 2026, Jim Carrey made a rare, high-profile appearance at the César Awards in Paris, where he received an honorary distinction recognizing his impact on global cinema. For years, he had been relatively quiet. After stepping back from acting and speaking openly about retirement, he had lived more privately, painting, reflecting, speaking occasionally about spirituality, ego, politics, and the strange theater of existence. So when he reappeared on a grand stage, silver hair longer, frame leaner, energy calmer, the internet did what the internet does. It zoomed in. It slowed footage down. It compared side-by-side screenshots from 1994. It dissected cheekbones. It analyzed pupils. And within hours, social media platforms pulsed with speculation. Why does he look off? Why does he sound different? Is this even him? And then came the leap, the spectacular leap, from curiosity to conspiracy. He's been replaced. It's a clone. It's a body double. The real one is gone. Pause here. Let us consider the audacity of this claim. To look at a man who has lived more than 6 decades, who has publicly wrestled with depression, fame, identity, and artistic reinvention, and to conclude that the only explanation for change is artificial duplication. Why? Because he no longer resembles the hyper-elastic 32-year-old who once inflated his body like a cartoon balloon in The Mask? Because he does not shout the way he did in Ace Ventura. Pet Detective? Because he speaks more softly than he did in Liar Liar? or because we struggle with the idea that our icons age just as we do? To understand the rumor, we must understand the man. Jim Carrey was never merely a comedian. He was a phenomenon. Born in Ontario, rising from poverty, he honed impressions in clubs before conquering television on In Living Color. He became one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood. He redefined physical comedy for a generation. But fame did not arrive quietly. It arrived like a hurricane. At the height of his career in the 1990s, he was omnipresent. Studios built projects around his energy. Audiences expected elasticity, chaos, exaggeration. Yet as time passed, something shifted. He delivered a haunting performance in The Truman Show, a man discovering his entire life as a staged illusion. He shattered expectations in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, a man grieving love in whispers instead of screams. He portrayed obsession in The Number 23. He revealed introspection in documentaries about his portrayal of Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon. He began speaking openly about ego, identity, the illusion of the self. In interviews, he questioned materialism. He described himself as a character playing Jim Carrey. And here lies something fascinating. For decades, he has been publicly dismantling the idea of a fixed identity. He has told us that the self is fluid. He has said fame is a construct. He has suggested that the person we think we are is a mask. And now, when he appears different, people conclude he has been replaced. Is that not ironic? Before retirement talk, he returned triumphantly to mainstream cinema as Dr. Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog and its sequel, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. In these films, audiences witnessed something familiar: elasticity, manic precision, physical comedy at full voltage. If this was a clone, it was a remarkably talented one. He announced he was fairly serious about retiring after these projects. He spoke about wanting a quieter life, about feeling complete. So when he re-emerged at the Caesar Awards, dignified, composed, reflective, he did not resemble the frenetic Robotnik. Now, he resembled a man who had stepped away from performance. But here is the deeper truth. We are uncomfortable when performers stop performing. We want the circus animal to remain animated. When the clown sits still, we panic. And in that panic, conspiracy becomes easier than acceptance. Rumors grow strongest when information is sparse. Jim Carrey has endured public relationships, heartbreaks, controversy, and tragedy. He has spoken about profound personal loss. He has withdrawn from Hollywood's constant glare. In recent years, he has been more private. Privacy in the age of oversharing breeds suspicion. When celebrities constantly broadcast their lives, silence feels ominous. But silence can also be healing. We live in a time when absence is interpreted as evidence. If someone steps back, the narrative fills the void. And so, the quieter he became, the louder the speculation grew. Now we arrive at another thread woven into the clone rumor: politics. Over the past decade, Jim Carrey has expressed progressive views. He has created political artwork. He has caricatured leaders. He has criticized systems. In a polarized climate, this matters. For some, his commentary aligned with evolving cultural conversations often labeled woke. For others, it signaled ideological departure. And when public figures change tone, politically, philosophically, spiritually, it challenges those who preferred an earlier version. So the narrative morphs. He's not the same. He's changed. And in the fevered imagination of internet culture, he's been replaced. But let us examine this carefully. Is ideological evolution evidence of duplication? Or is it evidence of growth? We have entered an era where the term woke functions as accusation, defense, identity, and insult, often simultaneously. Celebrities become battlegrounds. And when a celebrity's tone shifts from slapstick to contemplation, from neutrality to commentary, audiences fracture. Some applaud, some recoil. Some invent stories to explain discomfort. Why clones? Why not simply, he aged? Because aging is ordinary. Cloning is dramatic. The human brain prefers extraordinary explanations when faced with emotional dissonance. You remember Jim Carrey as the human tornado of 1994. You see a reflective artist in 2026. The gap feels large, so your mind searches for a bridge. The most cinematic bridge is replacement. But here is the inconvenient truth. Aging transforms bone structure subtly. Weight fluctuations alter facial proportions. Hair changes texture. Voice deepens or softens. Energy evolves. Camera technology exposes every pore in high definition. Lighting exaggerates shadows. And time, relentless, impartial time, leaves its signature. No laboratory required. There is a poetic twist here. In The Truman Show, Carrey played a man whose life was manipulated by unseen producers. Today, conspiracy theorists cast him as the manipulated product. The audience once watched Truman discover the illusion. Now, some viewers believe they have discovered an illusion in Carrey. Art imitates life. Life imitates paranoia. And the digital era magnifies both. The clone rumor is not really about Jim Carrey. It is about us. It reveals our discomfort with aging icons, our suspicion of institutions, our addiction to viral speculation, our tendency to treat celebrities as property frozen in time. When someone who shaped our youth reappears altered, we feel something destabilized within ourselves. If he aged, then so did we. If he changed, then so might we. A clone theory preserves nostalgia. It says, the real one is still the way I remember. The replacement explains the difference. It protects memory. So what is the dramatic truth? There is no clone. There is no replacement. There is no secret lab manufacturing Hollywood substitutes. There is a man who rose from poverty to global stardom, delivered generational performances, wrestled publicly with identity and ego, stepped back from relentless fame, returned to accept recognition, aged, as every human must. And in doing so, he committed the greatest transgression of all in celebrity culture. He changed. Let me leave you with this image. Imagine a mirror. In that mirror stands not a clone, but a reflection of time. The lines are deeper, the posture steadier, the energy quieter. Is it less real or more real? When Jim Carrey once said that identity itself is a construct, perhaps he was preparing us for this moment. The man who built a career on masks is now accused of being a mask. The comedian who bent his face into impossibility is now scrutinized for subtle differences. The actor who played Truman escaping illusion now becomes the subject of illusion. And perhaps the ultimate irony is this. In a world flooded with artificial intelligence, deep fakes, digital manipulation, and synthetic voices, we no longer trust what we see. But sometimes what we see is simply a human being, living. Ladies and gentlemen, the clone rumor may be entertaining. It may trend, it may generate clicks, but it also reveals something fragile in modern culture. Our difficulty accepting change without inventing catastrophe. Jim Carrey is not a clone. He is not replaced. He is not artificial. He is aging, evolving, reflecting, and still unmistakably himself. The real drama is not science fiction. It is human transformation. And perhaps the question we should ask is not whether he has been cloned, but whether we have. Cloned into outrage, cloned into suspicion, cloned into instant judgment. If we are to learn anything from this episode, let it be this. Allow people to grow. Allow faces to change. Allow artists to evolve. And resist the seductive simplicity of extraordinary explanations when ordinary humanity is enough. And that's today's story. Rumor, reality, evolution, and the truth behind the noise. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and most importantly, subscribe to Social Heat. Your support helps this channel grow, helps us create more in-depth videos, and keeps the heat alive on the stories that matter. Tell us in the comments, what topic should we turn up the heat on next? Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and stay heated. Goodbye.